That's enough of that. Please. You know I'm not an alien. You know that.
I'm a big Yorgos Lanthimos fan. His very strange, surreal brand of dark comedy works well for me, and I find the social commentary of his stuff very sharp and unique. His newest film, Bugonia, is probably the least subtle of all the films of his I've seen, and the easiest to digest. I don't say that as a critique. I thought the movie was really great. It kept things laser focused on a small set of characters, anchored by absorbing emotional performances from Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone, with a welcome, if a bit distracting, performance from Stavros Halkias with that Thousand Island stare.
Oh,
What?
my arch nemesis.
But the movie's joke ending kind of ruined a lot of the best scenes in the movie for me retroactively. And I've been thinking a lot about whether or not that ruined the whole movie for me, whether I could still enjoy the parts I liked before I knew how it ended. So let's talk about that.
Good faith dialogue, when you talk about this, when you talk about that, and what we talk about when we talk about fucking talking forever until we're all fucking dead.
Yeah, I agree.
So Bugonia is a super straightforward story, I think to its benefit. Based on a Korean movie called Save the Green Planet, it's about a psychotic, conspiracy-minded man named Teddy, played by Jesse Plemons, who is convinced that the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, Michelle Fuller, played by Emma Stone, is actually an alien, her capitalistic machinations actually being an extraterrestrial conspiracy.
You are a high-ranking official in the Royal Andromedan Court, and you've aided your species in the techno-enslavement and the agro-corporate disintegration of planet Earth.
He convinces his mentally disabled cousin to help kidnap her, intending to force her to bring them to her ship so that he can negotiate with her superiors, ushering in an era of improvement on Earth. The bumbling realism of the kidnapping sets the tone perfectly. The only problem is, she isn't an alien, and so his aims are impossible.
I'm not an alien.
Well, there's really no time for this. You are.
I'm not.
And despite her outward confidence in her situation,
There is no possible scenario where you benefit from this incident unless you cooperate with me.
the fact that he isn't in his right mind means that she has trouble finding a way out.
I think that we maybe got off on the wrong foot, and I would love to keep the conversation going, please.
That's the basic concept. More than that, the movie is about class difference, subjugation, and the perverse but sometimes righteous flipping of the normal roles these two occupy in society.
Tina, their machinery cut you, and you get punished for missing quotas? That's a violation. Fucking demons.
It's also about conspiracy, the difficulty of knowing what's true,
I think you're in a kind of echo chamber.
the way trauma can break people, and the failures of humanity. The movie is very clearly set up to showcase that Teddy is completely insane, and that Fuller is trying to find a way to weasel her way out of an impossible situation.
You can't talk your way out of this again. I'm not a kid anymore.
The acting is incredible, and sells the two as people at odds in a way that reveals the submerged intricacies of their relationship to each other.
That's the fucking hyper-normalized dialectic by which you've convinced 7.5 billion people that they're not your captives.
As the movie continues, you learn things about Teddy. That his mother was rendered comatose by the pharmaceutical company Fuller runs, and that it devastated his life. That he understands that many of the evil things perpetrated in the world, devastation of the environment, unnecessary deaths of those around him, happened because of the actions of people like Fuller. That the reasons he believes her to be an alien, beyond his own psychosis, are that he can't believe that a member of the human race would be so hostile towards that race, so hostile to a person like him. And despite her dire circumstances, she doesn't have the ability to not be dismissive and arrogant. It's just not how she's wired. She's ruthlessly intelligent, but can't stop patronizing, even at the risk of her own life.
Fucking shibboleths.
You mean shibboleths?
That's what I said.
You said,
Yeah, whatever.
sorry. I guess grammar is a false Andromedan construct as well.
The movie doesn't go as far as to make Teddy anything close to the hero of the story. He's a psychotic, conspiratorial freak, He castrates himself and his cousin, and he personally is responsible for the torture and murder of lots of innocent people. But it makes pains to understand him beyond just as an insane kidnapper. And the movie also wants you to understand that even though it's obviously bad that she got kidnapped, Michelle Fuller isn't a good person. She fucking sucks.
We need to send the message that we have a new culture here now, where people should, yes, of course, feel free to leave at 5:30 and be with their families. We still do want to meet quotas. So if we can do that with no pressure, just remembering, we are running a business here, so let your conscience guide you kind of thing. Yeah?
They're drawn so clearly, perfectly written and acted. It's super fun to watch them spar. It's why this scene is my favorite in the movie, their spaghetti dinner scene, where Fuller is finally able to get Teddy to explain to her what is really going on here, what his fixation with her is really all about. They discuss CCD, the destruction of bees, and the fact that her company is partly responsible for it. And she defends it with the zeal of an oligarch CEO. She's delusionally dismissive.
You want the bees to be dying so that it can be my fault. Or sometimes a species just winds down. Who knows? Right?
Right, who knows?
That's right.
So hard to say.
He attacks her arguments, not as those of an alien creature, but as a very human form of callous disregard. Even though he thinks all this is a part of the alien master plan, it feels incredibly like Teddy knows that she's just another human being, and that she knows he knows. I mean, he doesn't, but also he does.
I can't change your mind.
You're right, you can't, because I know who you are. I know what you are.
And then a bigger plot beat emerges. The experimental drug trial that ruined his mother and her part in it.
This is not about that.
With all due respect, Teddy, how could this not be about that?
She tries to use that fact to manipulate Teddy, but it comes off so desperate and disrespectful. This is what she really looks like when she's lying.
You're right to distrust me. You are. I lost myself somewhere, okay?
Fuck you. Shut the fuck up.
I became a human being that I told myself I would never become.
Fuck you! Fucking die, you fucker!
These are two incredibly well-realized and well-matched characters. It's a joy to watch them in scenes together. A perfect yin and yang.
You can't beat me because you are a loser and I am a winner. And that's fucking life.
Her desperation and his insanity are very obvious. But I had a thought while watching, one that everyone probably had, maybe as soon as the concept was introduced. Is the twist gonna be that she is an alien after all? The longer the movie wore on, the more I wished that wasn't where it was going. Because the movie is so clearly made with the idea that that is not the case. It's so crushingly, narratively obvious that she's a human being. All the movie's magnetism and depth comes from that fact. That people like this are ghoulish and often inhuman, but they are human.
So this closet here is a teleporter. So you'll enter the closet and then you'll close the door behind you, and then I'll count to 3 and press enter.
You've seen the movie, right? Or at least you can guess how it ends. She does turn out to be an alien after all, the leader of the aliens. Everything Teddy surmised about her was completely correct. She ends the experiment of humanity. And the last moments of the movie are shots of human beings all over the world lying dead. Humans were a failure. It's clearly a jokey, satirical ending, a metaphor, not meant to be literally true, and mirrors the ending of the original Korean film. The original was a much goofier movie. The ridiculous slapstick and Dr. Strangelove-esque tone mean the ending doesn't feel out of place. It was made for this movie, and importing it into Bugonia clashes with the tone of that film, whose absurdity and discomfort comes from its rawness and realism, whose comedy comes from its relatability.
Feel free to leave early. Unless you're busy. or you have things to do, but feel free if you can. Up to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Your call.
And the dichotomy between its two stars is the focus in a much more direct way than the original. Their conflict as people is the movie. For the sake of the joke, retroactively, the film stops making literal sense and stops being quite as interesting. The ending doesn't just fuck with the tone, it fucks with the narrative and its characters. If she really is an alien, then everything we've gleaned about her, the interest she inspired, in some sense was all fake. Her intelligence, ego, desperation, it all feels faulty. It was a trick all along. And Teddy was right. That moment when Teddy tortures her,
I admitted it.
when you hear those intense, horrific screams, well, the revulsion is lessened now. That was actually the correct move. She did have a ship she was refusing to reveal. The spaghetti scene, where we see what kind of person she is just a mirage. Sure, when she's trying to explain her way out of her situation and pretends to really be an alien, she says she's been on Earth a long time, that she's lost herself in the role. You could rationalize it that way.
Even I myself became more human, more selfish and cruel the longer I stayed here, amongst your kind.
But the dark comedy of these moments came from the fact that she was fucking with him.
It initiates a link with the ship.
On the calculator?
Yeah, I know. I know, it had to look banal and human.
It was all absorbing because it was all so real. Does it ruin the movie? Well, I'm sorry to make you come all this way for this answer, but no, not really. Don't get me wrong. I know this is just supposed to be a bit, a coda to our story, accentuating the destructive nature of humans and our failures as a species, and that the only way nature could recover from our influence is if we were dead. It's where the title of the movie comes from, an ancient myth about bees emerging from a carcass. The points the ending makes aren't bad, I just felt like I was getting more out of this movie without it. But luckily, the movie's made as if it doesn't really end this way, as if Michelle Fuller is a human being.
That's enough of that, please. You know I'm not an alien. You know that.
So the joke ending doesn't make the movie impossible to enjoy as the story it was before the twist, as the story that it actually is. I still love Michelle Fuller as a character, even if she feels less real. And it does seep into my favorite scenes. It does make them a bit less emotional, a bit less powerful. It infects a rewatch. The literal story can't help but change. And I do think it's a shame that it taints the film that way for me. I try to appreciate the joke and commentary of the ending, and I know it would fuck with the themes, but if they have to make her an alien, I didn't really enjoy sitting in that stupidity, or being forced to think about its effect on everything else. And I do wish that it just ended like this.